Greetings, Dr. Powell. My name is William Dickerson. I'm a student of Southern University's Business Graduate Program. My major is supply chain management. My minor is human resources. Today we're going to discuss management, chapter 5, entrepreneurs in a new venture. So basically, entrepreneurship is a very fine topic to me. I like entrepreneurship. I like the idea of being able to work as hard as you want to receive what you want, get what you want. I like the idea of working for self, doing for self. I was trained like that as a kid. To get what you want, you have to work for what you want. I teach my kids to work for yourself, not to depend on another man to feed you. And entrepreneurship is basically that in a nutshell. Entrepreneurship is the process of planning, organizing, operating, and strategizing the risks of a business venture to make yourself capital. It's very hard to start a business, i.e., you have so many things that could go wrong, so many different things that could come up to bite you. But I think as a young person, you live an entrepreneur life anyway, because as a prime example right now, there's not really jobs for some youth. You have to have the ingenuity to create a job for yourself. Take something that you love and you're willing to do for free. Find a niche and get ways to apply to make yourself income, financial income. It's so many other things than that, but that in a nutshell is my idea of what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurs are someone who engage and takes risk in ideas to get capital, to get income. And cash is king with entrepreneurs. So I notice a lot of businesses are gearing up to deal with entrepreneurs. They have businesses where they'll loan you cash if you can prove that you have this much financial income coming in at a certain time. That's a good thing and that's a bad thing. But entrepreneurship in the venture market, in the marketing schemes, is very important. It depends on type of businesses you have. But from my previous research and from my research and knowledge, most entrepreneur businesses are service rendering businesses, especially in the south area and the southern area. They're service rendering businesses for industries, for retail. They're still all service rendering businesses. People that hire professional managers to take care of their business, even though they put up the capital to run these businesses day to day for them and their interests in other things, they do other things. They're not really entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs will work 18, 20 hours a day, day in, day out, to make sure they get what they want, to make sure their dream is complete, to have things run the way they want it to run. Small businesses is another thing we learned about in this chapter. They are private owned businesses, usually owned by one person or a group of people, not a big group of a conglomerate of people. It's not a chair, it's not a person, it's a small group of individuals, and they take the sales and the assets. They're not large enough to influence the environment at that time, but if they come up with a grand idea, they might have major influence on industries. They might even create industries. And some companies, major companies, are fearful of entrepreneurs. So what they do, they're hire college kids, hire people that are great, grandiose in ideas, and they'll pay them to disappear. And they'll hire them and have them with normality and ideas that they would have to make their company better and probably be a threat to these companies. They'll hire these kids to just stay there and not do anything. So I believe in the youth. I believe in persuading the youth and pushing the youth to go and be entrepreneurs. I believe in having business plans written up, and I also focus on my kids having business plans. I give them at least 3 months to come up with a new business, and that's the way they eat. So they have to feed themselves. I'm not giving you any money. You're gonna have to make it. So that's the idea. And I came about that idea because my dad passed away at a young age, and I really didn't have anybody to give me anything. I didn't have any men to teach me anything. I had to learn. So one thing I want to do with my kids is teach them the ropes of everything, including manhood and just being a human being, being a decent human being, um, providing for this world and bringing something of substance to this world, and not being a culture, a vulture of this world, as so many people besiege our youth to be. And I beg to differ. I think our youth are brilliant. I believe in a lot of them, and if we would cater to them and hone them, we would have many of society's ills, many of society's solutions would be already embittered because it's in these kids' heads. So that's just me going on the ideas of the topics that I received from this dealing that we had with this chapter. 86% of all businesses are basically small businesses ran by entrepreneurs, which are small businesses of fewer than 20 people. 11.7% of these people employ 20 or not between 20 and 99 people. Most entrepreneurs are run by families, small family businesses, small groups of people that work for one another. I actually like working for a small business, family oriented business. It's real laid back. I can come and go as I please, but it's not like where you're not doing everything. Everybody has to pull their load. And some cultures are big on entrepreneur spirits, and they feed off certain type of other cultures. And prime example of type of cultures that feed off other cultures are the Asian community. The Asian community sets up in certain ethnic groups, and they will stay in that ethnic group, and that ethnic group will feed their family for generations, and they'll pass on businesses. And I've observed that firsthand, where you'll have certain individuals will come up in a business and notice that this individual business has produced this type of money, and they have not went any further than this, and they'll go to this individual and say, I have $120,000 cash. I would like to purchase your business. And they will either tell them yay or nay. Some businesses will take a business and buy a business and let the people that own the business run the business and move around with the business like it's their business. However, on paperwork, it's not their business anymore. And that's another business strategy a lot of people don't know. And they'll tell them, continue to do everything you were doing as before. Just, it's my business and I won't come around. I will pay you a salary. And they have some people that do that. I worked for an individual that did that, but it backfired for the people that bought it, because that individual used this guy and he took all the workers and started another business just like it. So it's a dangerous game you can play as an entrepreneur. It has a lot of risks involved. Some people know the risk, some people don't know the risk. But most industries are started by small business owners. Most jobs are created by small business owners. All businesses create and eliminate jobs just basically on the size and magnitude of job creation of the business. There's nobody working as phone operators no more, because all phones are automated. There's no Mr. Telephone Man anymore. Most of these jobs are going away with. So business moves around on the demand of the companies, demand of the world. You don't see anybody at a phone booth anymore. There's no phone booths. It's all cell phones. Everybody has a cell phone. Some people have 10 cell phones. Cell phones are really easy to get. Beepers is another thing. There's no beepers anymore. Nobody has a beeper. Nobody has a pager. Why would they have a pager? What's the purpose of a pager when you have a cell phone that could text people? So business moves on innovation. Most innovations change industries. Nobody thought the cell phone would change the way the world competes. It affects social media. It affects everything. You have tablets. So innovations create businesses. Innovations create small businesses. Innovations change industries. Most products made by manufacturers are sold to consumers by small businesses. Small businesses could be used car lots. It could be a lawnmower store. It can be a financial specialty type store that sells certain products that you need that are mass produced by certain individuals and major corporations. However, that big corporation doesn't want to have the upsell in the brick and mortar business, so they sell it to an individual who has the brick and mortar, who sells it to you. So that's another thing with small businesses. That probably is a family owned business where the whole family works in that business and provides for their means and necessities through that major market. Prime example would probably be a feed store in Mississippi or a small town Louisiana. The feed company doesn't want to sell feed to the farmer. However, there's a supply store that will supply the farmer, and he has had that repertoire because that business has been in that community. So he has a repertoire with these people. So this major brand doesn't know these people. They don't want to spend the time or the money getting into that community. They'd rather sell their product to a small business owner who then again can turn around and sell their product to another business owner, which makes a win-win for all teams. That's a strategy. But another thing an entrepreneur should have is a good strategy. If you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. And most entrepreneuristic type of people don't have a plan, or they have an idea and not a solid plan. So a business plan is very important. Most industries that are successful have a solid business plan. They have a business culture. That person might be a person that woke up in the morning from 5 in the morning to 6 in the evening. It's nonstop. It's in them to work like that. The whole company works like that. They hire people that think like that. So that business will be successful. You don't have a person that might hide out for lunch for 5 days and come back and where's my check. So if they did work like that, they'd probably be exposed because the rest of the company moves a certain way as the business owner does. And as an entrepreneur, you should want to know everything about everybody that works there with you. You want to know what their habits is, what their likes, what their family is. If this guy drinks, if he parties and comes to work sluggish, and you're building products, you might be building welding something for a company that's gone overseas or gone offshore, and that weld might depend on somebody's life. But Buddy was smoking last night. He was high and he was drunk, so he made a mistake on a weld, and the inspector didn't catch it, and that could destroy your business. So you have to know what your workers are capable of and what your workers are not capable of. That's a very important thing with entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurs should know everything about the business from the beginning to the end. It's very different parts of the business that you could go in that you can be successful in. There's transportation, manufacturing, services rendered, retailing, construction. All these are service rendering businesses, but in different aspects of the mean. And distinctive competence is very important. Identifying niches to get established in. You could find a niche of something that's very important right now is reselling. You can resell a brand of tennis shoes and have a whole business off of reselling brands of tennis shoes. You can identify your niche, identify a new market, be the first in the market to control the market, how the market comes in. You basically control who comes into the market by the information, because you have the wealth of information. It would probably be somebody that worked under you. So you could control the brand by just hiring certain people that could realize and learn the niche of the business. One business that's like that right now is search engine optimization. It's a ground level business that not too many people know about, and I would like to get into it. It's something that takes time, and if you have the time, you could probably be a millionaire within a year. A good business plan, like I said again, is very important. People that have a good business plan are successful. And you can follow somebody else's business plan if they share it with you. It's a basically architectural foundation of how you feel you're going to go about your business. The process of starting a business is very important, because if you don't have a certain process for starting that business, you might not know where to go. So I would say find a probable suitor, someone that can mentor you, a mentor. If you're going to get in that business, learn from them if they're willing to show you their mistakes. Some people don't, some people do. The biggest problem with business and entrepreneurship is finding the financials. Financials is very important. How are you going to have the capital, the upstart, to do an upstart that doesn't have money? Most businesses don't make money for the first 3 years until it's automated. Who's going to lend you the capital? Strategic alliances. Who are you going to align yourself with? You don't want to align yourself with losers. You align yourself with losers, you're not going to win. So it's very important that you strategically align yourself. Small business investment companies, they have companies that have started investing in companies, and that's their niche. They find small companies, they send them emails. Hey, we will invest in you if you give us X amount of dollars on the back end of your company. We never know. It has to be worthy of them to do it. So we have to figure out, why do they want to do this for people? What's the purpose of them wanting to do that? Another thing people do is small business loans, small business association, SBA loans. They give management advice, they give monies, and people see that now with the pandemic. They have got a name for themselves. They've been helping a lot of businesses. You can also, also get consulting advice from them, networking advice. Another thing I could explain to people that's very important is networking. Networking is very important. You don't have a solid network, you have nothing. So I know some people think that I don't want to bother with a certain individual because he looks a certain way. That individual might have a key to the success of your business that you never knew was fathomable, as you refuse to basically network with people. So most solid entrepreneurs, most great and successful entrepreneurs will say they have a phone that's worth millions of dollars, and it's the network that's in that phone. Some of them will even say money calls on my phone daily, and that's the networking that that phone brings them. And you have some entrepreneurs that move like moguls, rap stars, video stars because of the phone, because of the networks that they have. And they place their business in certain networks with certain people, and it brings them monies. It brings them advertisement. It brings them avenues that they probably couldn't get on their own. So networking is very important. Management of your time is another thing that entrepreneurs should pay attention to. Your time is very valuable, and entrepreneurs will tell you that because time is money with them. You can make a bad mistake, and the worst thing you can't get back is time. You can get the money. Sometimes the mistake is valuable because the money you lost, the information you gained, but the time. Some people repeat a mistake, and that time will cost them. Because by the time they wise up to it, somebody took their idea and ran with it. So I believe the most important things with entrepreneurship is a business plan, knowledge, time conservation, and networking. That's a very important thing. I really commend Southern University because I took an entrepreneurship class in the graduate program. It was undergraduate class, but it was in the graduate program also, and it really helped me. The guy would bring in certain people, Dr. Campbell, would bring in certain individuals weekly for us to talk to. We get wealth of information that you probably wouldn't have got, first-hand information on what to watch out for, how to watch out for them. I like watching entrepreneurs on Instagram, sometime on LinkedIn, even Clubhouse if you could get just information, because sometimes on these social media platforms they'll tell you anything, and that's another thing you have to watch out for with entrepreneurs. Some entrepreneurs will vet people. I do that with my businesses. I'll vet people. I'll tell them some outlandish idea and just see how far it goes. Who comes back with that outlandish idea, that outlandish buffoonish thing that I told this person, if he believed it, and if he can give me a certain type of response, I'll know how to move with him. So I believe in vetting people also is very important as an entrepreneur. You should vet the people around you, to vet the people in your network, vet your circle, vet your workers. Because if people work for an entrepreneur, your time is money, and that's your baby. You don't want certain individuals to run your business. You don't want certain individuals to come work under you and find out things about your business just to go back to your competitors and tell them secrets of your business. So that's very important. You can't share your business plan with everybody. You can't share your business model with all types of people. Even though people smile, sometimes they're not your friend. So I think you should pay attention closely to the ideas that you give in entrepreneurship, the ideas that you share, and your business plan. Because as they always say, if you plan a business, you should plan for success. But if you fail to plan, you plan for failure. So I think that's very important with entrepreneurship. I think how entrepreneurship and market segment connect with each other is because as an entrepreneur, you don't have the capital to pay $1 million for a marketing scheme. You'd have to have the grit, you have to have the knowledge and the know-how to use what you have to market what you plan. So as an entrepreneur, depending on what you're selling or what you're marketing, what business or what service you are rendering, you should have a wealth of a network that you could run by people and say, hey, is this a good idea? What you think about that? And I have 5 sons, so I have them and their friends. I have my little nephews. I have my niece, and I have other family members. And I would just tell them something and see how they respond to it. Give them this and let them see how they deal with this. And I usually would go with that. I believe in the youth. So I have kids that's between the ages of 22 and 15. So I give them the ideas. I just listen to them. Sometimes I'll just sit back and watch them and hear the things that they say, hear the things that they do, and talk about what they talk about and see if it's a good idea. Because most businesses, most innovations, and most industries are designed and figured out by the youth. It's not the elderly people. It's not the people between the ages of 40 and 60, or better yet, 30 and 60. They're coming up with these wild, grand ideas as far as with social media, as far as with coding, or as far as with designing. It's not the people at IBM that's doing it. It's not the people that work for these business models that's doing it. So your college is a good thing. Graduate school is a good thing. But most of the youth are going to be business owners, and people that go to college are going to work for them. So you have to decide what you're going to do, what's going to be your niche, and how you're going to capitalize on it. Because one thing about enterprise and one thing about entrepreneurship is capitalism. You have to find your niche that you're going to capitalize on, or somebody will capitalize on you. It's a dog eat dog world. And that's one thing they don't tell you about entrepreneurship, but there are people that are prey on the weak. So you have to be careful. You have people that come work for you and find ideas and take it and run. So like I said before, vetting is very important. Vetting people, finding out what people's plan is, finding out what they aspire for. I would like to talk to my workers, and I do. I want to find out what your dreams is. Do you want to attend college? Did you attend college? What do you like? What do you do? What's your vice? How do you have fun? How do you relax? That's things you should pay attention to, because entrepreneurship is a circle. It's a ball game. It's not one part. And that's why they said in the chapter that a person that hires other people to work for them is not an entrepreneur. They're just a business owner. And there's a difference between a business owner and an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur takes advantage of a situation to capitalize on it. He involves himself in the risk and decides if the risk is worth capital gains for himself. And there's a lot of people telling people they can do this, you can do this, you can buy this business, I have a business in a box I could sell you. They're entrepreneuring on people wanting to have something. But if you don't have the will, determination, and the drive, you won't have that business. So they could sell you a business in a bottle. They could tell you it rains, and they could tell you something else, and it'll fall on your head and you believe it. But however, it's not the truth. It's not facts. So entrepreneurship is very important. Entrepreneurship does connect with market segmenting, and the previous chapter that we discussed, it does connect with this chapter. It does connect with this chapter through marketing. It does connect with this chapter through entrepreneurship, which is in this chapter, because the entrepreneur is a marketer, and the marketer in the same as entrepreneur, because the person that has the marketing segment, he has a hunger and a desire that's not willing to be tamed or conformed to. So he sells his ideas of how to market a business, that if it was his business, this is how he would market this business. So it's very important to have those two in the same. If a good wise entrepreneur knows how to market his business, and you would have some segues that would say they would do certain things as selling water to a well, which a well has water in. A good entrepreneur is a good salesman, because they have to sell this product. It's their life and it depends on it. And I believe, like the old people said, if you believe in something, you'll be able to do it for free. And also, if you believe in something in your heart, you could sell it to anybody, because just the look in your eye will tell people that this is something that you need. I learned a lot of entrepreneur skills from Enterprise. I work for them, and their business model is impeccable. It's a great customer service rendering business, a good service rendering business with a fine business principle, a fine business plan. So if you wanted to model a business behind somebody, that would be the perfect business, because it branches out like a pyramid scheme, but it's not a pyramid scheme. It's genuine and it's all facts. Thank you very much.